We have Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins, who probably doesn't want to talk to me now after all that. Hi, Denny.
Hey, good morning, Fawn. And to be honest with you, I had forgotten it was Friday the 13th today as well until I heard you on the radio.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. All of a sudden, this popped up on my prep list. I'm like, oh wow, it is Friday the 13th. It's
Right.
just for me, it's Friday, and that's the part that matters. Yeah,
Yes.
that's it.
Yes.
All right,
That's
so
right.
with Big Beautiful Bill and the Elon Doge cuts, we've seen a lot of things get cut out of Washington.
Right.
And it looks like you're looking at some office budget cuts too, huh?
Yes. Yes. Actually, the legislature decided that they were going to cut my budget, 25 employees and $784,000. Now they didn't cut any other statewide budget office. And in fact, they actually added more money and to a couple other statewide offices. But we're gonna make it through this, and we're gonna be okay. Unfortunately, there was because of a couple personal vendettas from a handful of senators that did not like my conservative nature when I was in the legislature and decided to take it out on the Secretary of State's
I was
office.
just going to ask you, what did you do to them?
Yes,
I was just
yes.
going to say.
Yes, yeah, and that's unfortunate. I've said, hey, the Secretary of State's office is much bigger than Denny Hoskins. I'm the 41st Secretary of State. There's going to be there was 40 Secretary of States before me. There's going to be 40 Secretary of States after me, and so it's unfortunate that they decided because of some petty personal vendetta that they were going to cut my budget. So about two weeks ago, I had to lay off 22 employees. The majority of those employees were out of archives, and then also some out of the state library. And so right now we've got about 190 employees total in the Secretary of State's office with $71 million budget. Before these cuts, we actually had the lowest amount of employees in the Secretary of State's office in at least the last 25 years. So even before these cuts, we were on a pretty thin margin as far as employees in the Secretary of State's office. So we're going to do the best with what we've got, and we're moving forward.
Do you want to name them? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Well,
you want to start a war? Let's do it.
Yes, yeah. Well, actually, it was Senator Mike Searpoy out of Kansas City that offered the amendment to cut these employees. And then I tried to meet with Senator Huff. He's the Senate Appropriations Chair. I stopped by his office at least twice to meet with him in person. I texted him several times. I tried to set up a phone call, and unfortunately he was too busy to meet for 2 or 3 weeks, so I could explain to him how detrimental this would be, not just to the Secretary of State's office, but we're providing services to the public. And so right now, if you are doing any research or trying to get local records and anything like that, it's going to take a little bit longer than normal because we did have to lay off those people. So, like I said, I'm all about operating a efficient office in the Secretary of State's office, and we were already pretty efficient. Secretary Ashcroft actually did a pretty good job, and like I said, we had the least amount of employees in the Secretary of State's office that we've ever had before this budget, and now we definitely do after this budget cut that they forced on me.
Yeah, so you're going to do it, though. You're going to get through it.
That's right.
Our main objective is fair elections, and you're going to have your nose to the wheel.
That's right. Yes, and so our election staff accounts for about 10 people out of the 190, and even though none of these were in elections, instead of having more full-time election staff, when we open up filing, which filing will open up in February of 2026, as well as we'll have elections in August of 2026, obviously in November 2026. What our elections team does, and it's great for taxpayers and it's great for our budget, is they borrow employees from other departments and other agencies during those hectic, busy times. And so some of these people that had to lay off in archives as well as the state library, they help out, and they really get in there and help out during those hectic election times when filing opens up is when we have elections. So it may take a little bit longer to file. If anybody's wanting to file for office and come up to Jeff City in February or March, it may take a little bit longer. It may take a little bit longer to get those results out on election night, but we're going to work through this, that's for sure.
Yeah, you will. You got this. All right. So Missouri voter roll maintenance, you're doing some cleanup.
Yes. And so, since January 13th, and I know we've talked about this before, we've taken 150,000 ineligible voters off the voter rolls, and that includes 18,000 deceased voters, 1,700 felons, and we're continuing to work on that as far as state statute says that you have to routinely audit the voter rolls, but it does not give a definition of routinely. So routinely could mean once a week, it could be once a month, it could be once every 4 years, once every 10 years, but we've really been focusing on that. And then this week we actually have a case where a non-citizen, someone that is here illegally, we have proof that they voted in the November 2024 election. And so I think this is just one of many to come.
Shocking.
We do have, yes, shocking. So we are in contact with authorities and going to prosecute this person to the full extent of the law and working with ICE to get this person deported because non-citizens cannot vote in Missouri elections. But right now, if you sign up to vote, all you have to do is just check a box that says you're a citizen. And so that's something I know the feds are working on, that we're also trying to work on a state level with legislation to say, hey, when you register to vote, you have to provide proof of citizenship in order to vote. And so that's one of the things that we're working on. And this case came to light. We've been working with the Jackson County Election Authority on this. This happened in Jackson County, Missouri, which is part of Kansas City. And so I think we've been working with Congressman Smith's office. He and his office were very instrumental in getting us access to the SAVE database, which lists all the non-citizens here in the state of Missouri. Mm-hmm. And so our IT team is working with the SAVE database in order to, merge our voter rolls and contrast and compare that with the non-citizen list. So I think this is just one of many non-citizens that we're going to find that is on the voter rolls and has voted in past elections.
So, if you can prove that he's a non-citizen, I would love for you to dig further. I know you have limited people now, but dig further and see which programs he's on in the state that he needs to pay the money back for. That would be great.
Right.
I would love that.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree.
I want my money back. All right. Businesses, services, and essential functions. What do we mean by that?
Yeah, so business services, this is if you want to start if you're an entrepreneur and have a small business and you want to create a limited liability company or a partnership or something like that, you file those records with the Secretary of State's office. Or I know that there's been some natural disasters down around your parts, down the Boot Hill, and yes, a lot. Mm-hmm. And so I know many times you get some of these fly-by-night companies that come in and want to try and do work for you. If you want to see if they are registered with the state, now they don't necessarily have to be registered with the state, but if you want to see if they're a legitimate business, you can get on our website, the sos.mo.gov, and find out if they've created a limited liability company or partnership, or if they are a registered business with the state, within the state of Missouri. And so that's what that does. It also, business services, we have notaries, and so if you are a notary, you renew your license through our business services office. We also have the Safe at Home program. The Safe at Home program is, it can be for anyone. Anyone can sign up for it, but if you are a victim of domestic violence or something like that, and you don't want someone to find out your address, you can sign up for the Safe at Home program in the Secretary of State's office. That means all your mail gets delivered to us, so use our address, and then we mail that out to you. So business services does a lot of different things for Missourians here in the state.
Very nice. All right. So what'd you do when you went to D.C.?
Yes, when I went to D.C., I had great meetings. I met with your Congressman Smith. He's doing a great job. Yeah, I can tell that he was a little relieved that the big beautiful bill had passed out of the House, and
by one vote.
Yes, by one vote. And so I know that he is he was very glad about that. We talked about that a little bit and some of the great things that are in that bill, like no tax on tips and things like that. And he right now he's kind of negotiating with some of the Senate, but that bill is out of the House, so there's not a lot that he can do right now. But I could definitely feel some of the weight lifted off of his shoulders since he got that bill passed over the Senate, and then met with Department of Homeland Security, talked about elections. Elections are classified as critical infrastructure, according to the state, or according to the feds. And so, in fact, I just got my top secret security clearance, and so I'm excited about that and to learn more about elections, here in the state, and visit with Department of Homeland Security about some of the things that maybe that they've been hearing about, some of the threats to our elections that they've been learning about.
Yeah. Now I want to flip the script. In the 2 minutes that I have left, we can't risk a nuclear holocaust on Israel right now. So Israel has Operation Lion, which I freaking love the name of that. They are, because I always say, let the Lion of Judah roar. I'm absolutely pro-Israel, but they have this. They are a dot on the map, and they are taking on the super evil land of Iran, and they have taken out some very important different areas in Iran that would be necessary if they were going to launch a nuclear attack on Israel. How do you feel about Israel finally just saying, to hell with it, we're just going to go do this thing?
Yes, no, I fully support Israel, and President Trump had given Iran, I think, 60 days in order to get a peace deal done. Unfortunately, Iran did not. They didn't take that seriously, and so we do not want Iran to have a nuclear missile capability. And so I fully support Israel's strike on Iran, and I hope that this is a short-lived war. I've heard it described as a war. I hope this is a short-lived war, and Israel comes out on top. And most certainly, I support everything that Israel is doing.
Well, I mean, if you go by what the Democrats and the news entities are saying about what's going on in Los Angeles, when I look at a map of what's happening in Iran, I see that Israel's conducting a mostly peaceful airstrike. That's what it looks like to me. It doesn't look like it's too bad of a deal. They are very strategically taking out the places that need to be taken out to prevent a strike on them. So
exactly,
that's what they're doing.
Exactly.
It's almost surgical. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
It is. Israel, they are not a country that anyone wants to mess with. They take their security very seriously, and obviously, we do here in the United States as well. You described it very well. Surgically, they surgically took out some of the Iranian leaders, as well as some of their military force and things like that. So this was a very surgical warfare that Israel declared on Iran, and tried to keep civilians, harm to civilians, to a minimum. And so Israel can do a lot of very interesting things with their military, that's for sure.
Yep, and all your little drones are getting taken out by Jordan and Israel because the Iron Dome works, and Jordan doesn't want the war coming to their backyard either. And you know
that's
what?
Right.
If Iran hadn't poked the bear, or the lion in this case, and gone into that kibbutz on October 7th 3 years ago, none of this probably would be happening. So, FAFO. There you go.
That's right.
All
right.
right.
That's
Denny
right.
Hoskins, Missouri Secretary of State. Denny, I'll talk to you again next month.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you,
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Yeah,
Bye.
you too.